This is Dr. Salman Zafar welcoming you to another session on basic concepts in organic chemistry. You know that sigma electrons are usually considered to be localized between two atoms, but this is just an approximation. In fact, sigma electrons could also be involved in conjugation. And the concept of the involvement of sigma electrons in conjugation is known as hyperconjugation. So let's discuss what hyperconjugation is all about. So hyperconjugation basically is the interaction of sigma electrons, and that is with an adjacent p orbital or an adjacent pi orbital. And that leads to the formation of an extended molecular orbital, leading to the overall stability of the molecule or the system. So hyperconjugation is nothing else than the involvement of sigma electrons in conjugation. We'll discuss each with certain examples. So let's see how sigma electrons could be involved in conjugation with an adjacent empty p orbital. So we have this system. A carbocation is present on this carbon atom, which means this carbon has a p orbital that is empty. And here we have an sp3 hybridized carbon with a CH sigma bond. So we will see how these sigma electrons between the carbon and hydrogen could be involved in conjugation with this empty p orbital on the adjacent carbon atom. So the electrons from the carbon-hydrogen bond could be transferred over between these two carbon atoms, forming a carbon-carbon double bond. And that would mean that this positive charge is removed from this carbon because now it has formed 4 bonds, as you can see here. But it leaves hydrogen stranded without a bond with this carbon now. And because these two electrons between the carbon and hydrogen have been shifted between these two carbon atoms, this hydrogen is left with a positive charge. One thing that you have to remember is that in hyperconjugation, this hydrogen does not leave the system. In fact, it remains within the bonding distance with this carbon. So if need arises, this could form a sigma bond again. And it does happen. This pi bond from between these two carbon atoms, it is shifted again between this carbon and hydrogen, forming a sigma bond, and a positive charge is generated again. So we have this double-headed arrow, meaning it is conjugation or resonance involving these sigma electrons between carbon and hydrogen. Let's see this with the help of orbitals. So we have two carbon atoms. This carbon is sp3 hybridized, and here it is shown with 3 bonds. So it has to make another bond with a hydrogen atom. So it has another sp3 hybridized orbital, which forms a sigma bond with the 1s orbital of this hydrogen. And the adjacent carbon atom has a p orbital that is empty. And these two orbitals, this sp3 orbital from this carbon and this empty p orbital from the adjacent carbon, they can overlap to form this carbon-carbon double bond. So in fact, it looks like this. So what you see now is an untrue sigma bond between carbon and hydrogen, and here between these two carbon atoms we have a double bond, but this pi bond is shown with a broken line, which means it's not a true pi bond. And that shows that resonance or conjugation or delocalization is happening in this system. And as a result, now you can see that this hydrogen is shown with a delta positive charge, and this carbon also has a delta positive charge. Delta in this case means half. The original molecule had +1 charge on this carbon atom, so the overall charge in this species is +1. And you already know that the accumulation of charge, whether that is positive charge or a negative charge, brings instability to the system. So this carbon atom has a positive charge, meaning this is a carbocation that is unstable. So anything that would help this carbon get rid of this positive charge would bring stability to the system. And in this case, hyperconjugation is helping this carbon to get rid of the positive charge to some extent. And you can see that this +1 charge is now shared between this hydrogen and this carbon atom. So this carbon now is left with a delta positive charge, and some of this positive charge is shared by this hydrogen because of hyperconjugation. Now, see, this carbon has 3 hydrogens, so it means that all the 3 hydrogens can be involved in hyperconjugation. So in fact, this carbon can get rid of the positive charge because of hyperconjugation with all the 3 hydrogens on the adjacent carbon atom. In this species, this whole species has 3 hydrogens which can be involved in hyperconjugation, and we call these 3 hydrogens as hyperconjugatable hydrogens. So the number of hyperconjugatable hydrogens is directly proportional to the stability of the system, because as the number of hyperconjugatable hydrogens increases, the extent of hyperconjugation also increases, and that means that the stability of the system also increases, because there are more chances for this carbon to get rid of this positive charge. Remember, these 2 hydrogens attached directly to this carbon atom cannot be involved in hyperconjugation. Any hydrogen on the adjacent carbon atom can be used up in hyperconjugation. So if this carbon had another carbon here with hydrogens attached, that could also be involved in hyperconjugation. So 6 hyperconjugatable hydrogens mean more extensive hyperconjugation and more stability to the system. So it means that a tertiary carbocation with more hyperconjugatable hydrogens would be more stable as compared to a primary carbocation with lesser number of hyperconjugatable hydrogens. The stability of these reactive intermediates, carbocations and carbanions, we will discuss that in another video lecture. But for the time being, you just have to know which hydrogens could be involved in a hyperconjugation. Now, these sigma electrons could also be delocalized with a half-filled p orbital on the adjacent carbon atom. A half-filled p orbital means a radical. So if you have a radical on a carbon atom and an adjacent carbon atom has a sigma bond, a carbon hydrogen sigma bond, these carbon hydrogen sigma electrons could be involved in conjugation or hyperconjugation with this unpaired electron. So this unpaired electron brings instability to this carbon atom or this whole species, and it would need a partner to get rid of this instability caused by this single electron. So it finds another partner electron from this carbon hydrogen sigma bond. So one of the electron is shared between these 2 carbon atoms, forming a double bond, and the other electron between this carbon and hydrogen is shifted towards hydrogen. So in fact, now we have a carbon-carbon double bond and a hydrogen radical, which still remains within bonding distance with this carbon. And it can, of course, take an electron from this pi bond again to form this species again. And that means that this electron density of this single electron is now shared by this carbon and this hydrogen. So electron density decreases on the carbon atom, bringing stability to the system. The stability of radicals is also associated with the number of hyperconjugatable hydrogens, or you can say that the stability is directly proportional to the number of hyperconjugatable hydrogens. In this case, there are 3 hyperconjugatable hydrogens present. The sigma electrons could also be involved in a conjugation or hyperconjugation with a filled p orbital, and a filled p orbital means a carbanion. But in case of carbanion, you can see here the direction of the flow of electrons is opposite to that of carbocation. Now the electrons are flowing away from the carbanion, and it means that there has to be some electron withdrawing group, a strong electron withdrawing group or atom that would withdraw electron density from this carbanion and making hyperconjugation to happen, and helping this carbon atom to get rid of this negative charge. So this negative charge is shared between these two carbon atoms, and fluorine, because it's a highly electronegative atom, takes the two electrons between carbon and fluorine to form a fluoride anion. Again, that remains within bonding distance, so it can share its two electrons again with the carbon, and this bond is shifted towards this carbon to give back this species. But now the negative charge, or the accumulation of this negative charge, is reduced because of hyperconjugation, and it is shared. This negative charge is shared by both carbon and fluorine. So they are shown with the delta negative charge both on fluorine and carbon in this case, and you can see the dotted lines showing untrue single and double bonds. Sigma electrons can be involved in hyperconjugation with an adjacent pi orbital. So if we have a carbon-carbon double bond, which means a pi system is present in the molecule, and on an adjacent carbon atom we have a sigma bond as well. So we have this carbon-hydrogen sigma bond, and on the adjacent carbon atom we have a pi orbital. So you see this pi bond between two p orbitals on these two carbon atoms. These sigma electrons from the carbon-hydrogen bonds are shifted between these two carbon atoms, forming a pi bond, and as a result this pi bond is shifted over to this carbon atom, meaning that this carbon would now have a negative charge. Actually, these electrons, or the sp3 hybridized orbital, overlaps the p orbital that is present on this carbon atom, which has already formed a pi bond. So it breaks, or it gets rid of this bonding with this p orbital and gets involved in bonding with the sp3 hybridized orbital on the adjacent carbon atom here. So now what we have is a positive charge in carbon, which remains within bonding distance with this carbon, and because of shifting of this pi bond towards this carbon we have a negative charge here, and you can show the resonance hybrid in this form, right? And so you see a delta negative charge here and a delta positive charge here. Remember, when we talk about resonance or even hyperconjugation, the charges on both the sides must be equal. So we have no charge here. +1 -1 makes it 0. Delta positive, delta negative makes it 0 again. And so you see that the charges are shared. The electron density is transferred between these four atoms, hydrogen, carbon, carbon, and carbon. It is not accumulated between these two carbon atoms. So now you see that hyperconjugation makes the electrons available to be shifted or transferred to other atoms, and they are not accumulated or restricted between two atoms. And this also proves that sigma electrons are not localized electrons. In fact, this is just an approximation, and these sigma electrons can be involved in conjugation, which we call hyperconjugation. And the overall effect of hyperconjugation is increased stability. This is all about hyperconjugation. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more lectures in basic concepts in organic chemistry.